Thank you so much, sir. It was interesting to note that where ISQ is in front of the global society on quality, the stress for research and the key differentiators are definitely the key takeaways for us. I think every one of us would have taken note. Thank you so much, sir. And now next we need to, this is the time for us to listen to the chief guest of the day. May I request the President ISQ to introduce our chief guest.
Our chief guest here is Mr. Muthuraman. I don't think he needs any introduction to all of us here. He is well known in the country for the kind of contribution he's made. I got to know Mr. Muthuraman maybe in the early 80s when we started our quality journey, and I got involved a little bit in Tata Steel at that time also, and especially after Dr. Irani went to Japan and came back. And from him, Mr. Muthuraman picked up the baton. It's a classical example. You know, bulk of the quality movement that we see in Deming Prize winners are from companies which are privately owned, or like owner-driven companies. Okay. Tata Group is one which is not owner-driven, very democratized. And what happens in those companies when the chief executive changes, the quality suffers. Somebody, next person may have their own agenda. That's natural. But in Tata Steel, thanks to Dr. Irani and Mr. Muthuraman, they've established a system whereby they've had two successors. Okay, after Mr. Muthuraman, Mr. Nerurkar, and now Mr. Narendran. Each one have continued the stream, picked up by Dr. Irani, carried by Mr. Muthuraman. I don't think I can give a greater appreciation of what Mr. Muthuraman has done than that. He led the company to the Deming Prize and retired. It continued. He won the Deming Grand Prize, and they continue. You find many people here. I'm happy to show you. We have ANQ Congress once a year. Tata Steel sends 100 papers every year. We greatly, with difficulty, select 20, 25 papers because India is the second largest contributors of papers at the ANQ Congress. And ANQ Congress papers are really good papers as compared to what we find in the Europe and USA. That's a contribution which Mr. Muthuraman has made, and his legacy is continued. So a person's contribution is judged by his legacy, not by what he did during his tenure. So thank you, Mr. Muthuraman, for agreeing to be a chief guest here, and we appreciate that. May I invite you to...
Good morning, everybody. Very good morning. Mr. Mehta, Mr. Ganesh, first of all, my hearty congratulations to Mr. Ganesh for winning the very unique award. I am told there are only 5 people who have won that award outside Japan. And out of those 5, 3 are from India. And out of the 3, 2 are from the city of Chennai, including Mr. Ganesh. And 2 of them are in our midst, Mr. Mehta and Mr. Ganesh. So it's a very unique occasion. Thank you for inviting me here, Mr. Mehta. It's a terrific opportunity. I intend to share my thoughts on this journey of quality that Indian industry has undertaken over the last 30-odd years. And I may be a little bit critical, and therefore please reflect on what I am saying a little more deeply, and see why I am saying what I am saying. Incidentally, I forgot to mention, Professor Ando-san is here. Professor Ando-san, very welcome to you especially. Very nice seeing you after maybe 15 years or so. Incidentally, to all of you, I must say, while Tata Steel has done some excellent journey over the last 30 odd years in the quality movement. The prime leaders for that quality movement are actually Dr. Kano and Professor Ando-san. So a very special tribute to Mr. Ando-san. Please convey what I am saying to Dr. Kano as well. The world today is currently witnessing a geopolitical rebalancing as well as an economic rebalancing, with India being a prominent player in both. Given India's strong fundamentals and several advantages, including its favorable demography, India has a tremendous opportunity to become an economically superpower, one among the top 2 or 3 in the world in just a few decades to come. But the mere presence of an opportunity is not a guarantee for success. We need to enable it to happen. There are, of course, several enablers for us as a nation to be able to succeed at the world stage. One of the strongest enablers is quality, probably the strongest enablers of all. Quality in everything in our lives, in governance, in politics, in education, in infrastructure, in public services, and of course in product and quality and services. In everything we do and in all walks of life. That is what is meant by quality. The competitiveness of India, which is at the core of our capability to become an economic superpower, will be determined not merely by the quality of our products and services, but by the excellence we achieve in every aspect of what we do. As far as the Indian industry is concerned, as Mr. Janak Mehta mentioned, the quality movement in a formal and structured manner had its beginnings in the late 80s, in the mid to late 80s, when a team of Indian CEOs under the leadership of Dr. Irani, my predecessor in Tata Steel, spent some time with Jews in Japan learning the fundamentals of quality. And we had people like Mr. Suresh Krishna and Venu Srinivasan, and of course the Rane group leading that effort from the front. It was not surprising, therefore, that Tata Steel, along with the TVS group and the Rane group, were the early adopters of this quality movement. At Tata Steel, we deployed every tool that we learned or heard of: the TPM, the TQM, value engineering, Kaizen, quality circles, Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, theory of constraints later on. And at any stage, at any given point of time in the 90s in Tata Steel, there would be several thousands of cross-functional projects, teams working on various quality improvement projects across the company. We were the first to win JRDQ award in the Tata Group, and we were one of the first in India to win the Deming Grand Prize, and probably the only steel company outside Japan who have ever won the Deming Award so far. More than any other effort or event in Tata Steel, it is the intensity and breadth of quality movement that saved Tata Steel from the very, very difficult situation it found itself in the early 90s. The Indian industry's quality journey of the last 30 years has been quite fruitful. Thousands of our companies have adopted product quality improvement measures. There is a distinct improvement in the quality of products and services from many of our companies. Some of our companies have become world-class and reach international standards. International awards have been won by many companies, including the Deming Prize. Our export basket is gradually shifting, although very slowly, shifting from largely raw material base to one of more and more semi-finished and finished products. Other accompanying benefits of quality movement have accrued to our companies, like the ability and courage to set aspirational targets, like setting targets that you don't know how to reach, but will find a way of reaching once you are on that journey to reach it, teamwork, and many other accompanying benefits. All this, of course, is good news. There is no doubt about it. But the not so good news, in fact, in my view, somewhat disappointing, and personally for me, it is a very disappointing news, in that many companies, especially those in the small and medium sized sector, are not going beyond the product quality stage, and some very few only to the extent of dealing with processes that directly relate to product quality. They are still in the operational level of quality movement. Sometimes I feel that the word quality is a misnomer, in that it does not fully convey what total in total quality management intended to convey. It somehow makes one think that product quality and nothing much beyond product quality. Perhaps excellence is a better word to convey what total quality management originally intended to convey. Some 27 years ago, in 1995, when the Tata Group started the quality journey in a formal and a structured manner, it gave the name Tata Business Excellence Journey or Tata Business Excellence Model to describe the journey, and I see a lot of sense in it. There are possibly 70, 80 companies, mostly in the large and medium sector, or maybe even 100 companies, that have moved beyond the product quality level and have looked at processes and results at a strategic level. They have understood that they are the only few companies in India which have understood that word total in total quality movement is beyond product quality and encompasses other areas like sustainability, climate change parameters, societal value creation, customer value creation, efforts to create an equal opportunity society, and many other factors that ultimately impact the quality of everything that we do. I see very few companies include some of these parameters in their assessment of total quality stature of a company. People quality and efforts being made to improve the quality of people in an organization must be a part of assessment of company's quality status and quality stature. Digitization and its increasing use in depth and width in various areas of our operations and business has a very big impact on quality and therefore needs to be a part of an assessment process. As we all know, quality is not an isolated entity. It is interconnected with many other facets of an organization. Unless all parts of an organization and all functions of an organization become excellent, quality will not be sustainable and will at best and will be wobbly. This is where the Indian Society of Quality can play a major part. The ISQ needs to make an impact on the large number of small and medium enterprises to embrace the quality movement and make these companies realize that total quality management is beyond the product quality level. This is the way forward. And sometimes I get disappointed. I was telling Mr. Janak Mehta only last night that when I talk to the CEOs of many companies in India as to what is happening in their companies in terms of quality movement, many of them seem to tell me that they have started a department, or they have delegated to somebody, they have delegated to the human resources department, or they have established a quality control department, and so on and so forth. It doesn't seem to be anymore in the CEO's main agenda, which is a sad part of the story of quality movement in India. The other thing that is happening is when you discuss with the CEO as to what is the status of quality movement in his company, he often tells me that chapter is over. We have crossed it. We have done things. We now we now need to move to the next level, or we now need to go to the next book or a next chapter. So I often ask them, what is this next chapter? Because as far as quality is concerned, there is no next chapter and there is no next book. As we all know, it's a continuous journey, and it needs to encompass. I still remember, and I was mentioning this event to Mr. Mehta only last night. When Dr. Kano was in Jamshedpur, he was with us for almost 5 or 6 years. And we used to feel very proud of what we were already doing without knowing that we were not doing much. And Dr. Kano had a way of communicating. One day he came to my office and said, Mr. Muthuraman, I want to show you some photographs. So he showed me some 20 photographs. And these photographs, all of them had some rubbish and filth collected in a heap in many places. So I told Dr. Kano, this is obviously not from my plant, because our plant is much cleaner than this. He said, this is from your plant. So I challenged him. I said that, look, somebody has sent you photographs from somewhere and you're trying to show it to me just to tease me. He said, no, these are from your plant and I will show it to you. So we took a car around and we went around the circle. And all these heaps of dust and heaps of filth were all outside our plant, but on the way where the workers go every day into the plant. So he told me that, Mr. Muthuraman, if your workers see this filth and dirt lying around every day of their lives whenever they come to the plant and go out of the plant after their work, how will they be able to produce quality? Don't think product quality is made only in the plant. Product quality is made in the minds. Product quality is made in marketing. It is made in human resources. It is made in finance. It is made in marketing. It is made in sales. So it is made outside your plant, where you think you are not connected. It is made in the city of Jamshedpur. It is made in the minds of people, of the housewives when they keep their house. So please understand that we need to develop a perception of quality akin to what Dr. Kano is saying. That you can't focus only on product quality and say that we have done great things in the world. But all this is only about industry. A nation's competitiveness, of which a lot of us are talking a lot of things nowadays, I would say quite glibly, if I may use the word, is an even bigger subject. It involves excellence in all areas of our life, in education, in infrastructure, in politics, in healthcare, and so on. Getting into the level of excellence in all these areas determines the competitiveness of a nation and is a mammoth task. But bodies like ISQ and CII Institute of Quality needs to start thinking about how to impact on them. If we don't achieve excellence in all aspects of India's life, the talk of national competitiveness will remain only a glib talk. I hope the conference initiates two things. One, to make our companies look at quality from a total perspective and not from a perspective of product quality or processes that relate directly to product quality. And two, to start people thinking about how to make an impact on the other sectors of our economy, because other sectors of economy will also impact ultimately your company's products. Because if you are going to live in a city which is filled with filth and garbage and so on and so forth, you have a mindset on quality. And that is a mindset which is going to reflect on the product that you produce, on the customer service that you give, and so on and so forth. So it is a totality of the concept of the quality that we need to understand. And I'm sure the Indian Society of Quality, and also, if I may talk about CI and National Quality, both of these organizations need to think about how do we impart, how do we make our companies as a first step to make sure that they understand what is the meaning of total in total quality management. I don't think that has happened yet in the Indian industry, except for a few sort of maybe 50, 60, 100 companies and not everybody else. And secondly, how can we impact on other sectors of the economy, which also ultimately will impact the national competitiveness. I wish this conference great success, and I wish some of you start thinking about the subjects that I mentioned just now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your very insightful speech. And the message was very loud and clear that we should move away from the pockets of excellence and move towards excellence, particularly on strategic, move away from product and process quality. And excellence in all areas of our life only will take our nation competitive. Thank you, sir. May I request our President ISQ to present a small memento to our chief guest.